Hello and welcome to Bendy, a podcast about being flexible and all of the ways that means. Thanks for joining us. My name is Andy Young, and I'm one of your humid, semi-tropical hosts. Joining me as always is our other humid and semi-tropical host, Beth Martin. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
I love all of our planning that went into this episode.
Right? But I mean, like, I was also kind of like in those descriptors, I was like, I am pretty positive I've never described us as either humid or semi-tropical. So, like, at least for unique points, we're in good shape.
I mean, that's kind of accurate for where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's not humid nor tropical.
Is it
I mean,
is
the
it
palm trees are not native,
that's
and
true.
I'm getting like fire danger warnings, like I don't
So
know, twice a day
so
now.
if anything you could do with a bit more humidity,
Incendiary, I guess. Yeah, we
essentially
could do
okay.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Is it
yeah.
I can't like I mean are parts of California humid or
Yeah,
is it is okay. But like
yeah.
by and large it's relatively dry.
I mean, if you're down by the ocean, it's for sure humid
Yeah, that
and
makes sense.
everything is molding.
Oh
But
yeah,
then it's
freaking yeah, San
yeah,
Diego was humid as shit. Forgot about
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's right now it's what's called the June gloom.
Oh,
So it's just
interesting.
like only like marine layer and it never burns off. So you're just like in the
Oh
clouds.
God, really?
So all those people that spent $27 million in their waterfront property,
They are
they get the June gloom.
delighted. That's
Yeah,
just
they're
somebody who's
happy.
a video game fan like me. That would be great. It's like perfect. I don't even need to close the curtains. I just need to like sit down. What a dream. Uh,
That effort of
oh,
having to close the
can you
curtains
imagine?
and
Jesus.
just being able to sit down.
Yeah, I mean, not that I get to sit down, but that's a different. That's
No,
that's
right?
a that's for our topic. Okay, so
So,
so
yeah,
Beth, what is the crack?
okay. The crack is I'm complaining today.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen. So, Mike is
Hmm.
working, and I can't complain because he's like, I got to go to town for 2 weeks, and I'm like, cool, what you doing? He's like, going to Oregon, then Boise, and Spokane, then Bellingham, and then back to Portland, and I'm like, that fucking sucks,
Hmm.
right? And like that, and then not that he doesn't love his parents, but he's got to like live in his parents' basement again.
Yeah,
You
he's good.
know, guy's
Yeah.
like 48 years old, back in his parents' basement, which I love. Makes me laugh. But yeah, I'm just like I'm not feeling well.
Hmm.
I'm trying to like take this time to figure out why and like do I need more napping? Do
Hmm.
I need less of this drug, more of that drug? And so
Yeah.
I'm petri dishing myself and it's just not working out well. So it's hard. Like I feel for single parents because I only do this like, every 3 months or so, but it's just like a lot. And I live in like a military area. So I talk to parents all the time and they're like, oh yeah, my husband's being deployed for 18 months. And I'm just like, uh, I can't
Why?
even. I can't even.
Yeah, that's an insane one to me. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, very scary. I was just gonna say from earlier, you said like you can't complain. You can complain, right?
I can't. Yeah.
It's valuable to
Yeah.
complain sometimes. Life
That's
sucks. So it's
that's where I'm
cathartic.
at. It's gonna be good. People are gonna give this episode glowing reviews.
Let's hope so. It's
Yeah.
cathartic.
Yes.
Um, should I
How
roll
are
up my
you?
sleeves?
What's the crack with you?
Um, So since we last spoke, I have well, so I our last episode was when I had just returned from my holiday in Canada.
You were like, "Yay!
Hey, I'm full of
Life is
beans.
wonderful."
Yeah, and I'm even worse this week somehow. But I think I had hoped that my kind of jet lag was more over than it was, and so like and then like it really kind of hit me like a ton of bricks later on that week. I think so like since we last spoke, I went to Charlie XCX, which was excellent, but it was like a very like I mean I didn't have the juice for like a night at an outdoor concert. I just didn't. It just wasn't there. But it was still a lovely experience. But it was like an odd experience, like as a 46-year-old man.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I certainly wasn't, there were people my age there, but I mean, like, largely you're talking, mostly young girls and, like teenagers, people in their 20s, probably people in their 30s as well. Like, and like, me just standing there by myself, I was like, oh, this feels kind of odd. There were like tons of queer people, like both men and women. Um, I'm told since that, talking about my outfit, it was slightly queer coded. I think there was definitely
Most of your outfits are, Andy.
that's true. I think I'm queer coded just generally. And there was
It's
something that
like
happened.
your poncho and your utility kilt. I
I
can't.
know, it's so true.
You
But and
are
I,
who
I
you are.
I got this like knit shirt whenever I was away, and I was wearing that, and everybody people were like, "Yeah, that's definitely gay." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." But there was like there was what was a really kind of nice. I think somebody said, "No, man, it was a really kind of interesting thing." Like, I'm all about kind of observing human behavior, and I was just
Like this.
standing. Yeah, like from a distance, I'd preferably behind a fucking glass shield, like 3 meters of plastic would be my ideal way to observe human behavior. Anyway, and I was just standing there watching Charlie, and then I felt this tap on my shoulder, and I looked right, nothing, and then I looked left, and there was a guy with like a quite flamboyant outfit, and he had like a fan, and he just looked at me, flicked open the fan, fanned himself, and walked away. And I was like, "Wow, was that like a mating, a mating technique or
Come
something?
hither.
Come hither."
Uh-huh.
But I was like, "How fascinating!" So that was fun. But it was a lovely night, and nevertheless, like even though I didn't have the gist for it, it was fantastic. She puts on an amazing stage show, and I'm very glad I went, despite feeling very out of place. Though I
Yeah.
did run into a friend who kind of runs events, and she was able to get me into a VIP area, which was quite exciting. Not like a kind of you're going to meet Charlie VIP area, but like a kind of little gated
Maybe
area
like, well, I
with
guess here it's like you buy a wristband. Now it's like you buy wristbands, you can sit down.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
The wristband, and there's nicer toilets, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll take both those
Yeah.
things.
And like here you have to be 21 and older usually to be by the bar. So
Yeah,
that kind of like delineates at least some age,
it's true. So
uh whatever the term is,
I know what you're
placing
saying.
people in certain, yeah. The younger people
Categories.
stand over there. Yeah, thank you.
Uh,
Um I like her and I'm jealous that you got to go.
yeah, it ruled. I was really like sad. I saw some people with like sweatbands that said that were like neon green and said brat on them, and I really wanted to buy one, but they didn't have any.
Okay.
So fans of the pod, send me a brat sweatband, please.
Right? Or I should because I forgot your birthday.
It's fine. If you can track one down, I'll take one all day. The other thing I did since we last spoke was I saw Final Destination Bloodlines, which
Oh,
which was so much fun. It was such a great time out at the movies. It was like and I heard it was a fun movie to watch, and I've enjoyed some of the previous entries, but this one has so much fun with the kills and stuff like that in really kind of inventive ways, and it was just like a kind of like, oh, that sort of time at the movies. Not really like I think the thing about those movies is that they're not like horrors, as in there's not anything scary, but there's a lot of shocking moments.
hmm.
So it was very entertaining.
I'm curious to see how the captioning will caption your use of the word horror or horror.
Oh God, it will. Okay.
I know, we'll see. I'll leave that, whatever it is.
I'm gonna get in big trouble probably for that. Again,
The censors.
I know.
Um, I've been going to see movies
Oh yeah?
too. Like I did some stuff this weekend. There was like a music uh free like music in a concert or the park.
Hmm.
So I took the kids to that, saw a friend, had fun. There was like a jam band, and it's like
That's
playing
nice.
not Charlie XCX.
God, what?
And then we saw Lilo and Stitch,
Oh,
the
yes, I saw it too,
live
actually.
action.
Yeah.
I really liked it actually. Uh, and then we saw there's a new Pixar movie out called
Oh, yeah.
Elio. So we saw that over the weekend. I'm just trying to,
How was it?
parenting them. It was actually really sweet. I
Okay.
liked it.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if you're looking for something to do, like it's totally like
Serviceable.
if you'll go see Final Destination 400, you can see Elio and be
Yeah, that's
entertained.
true. That's fair. That's absolutely fair. I kind of like, I kind of want to see the 28 Days, the new 28
I do
Days, or
too. I'm
28
so excited.
Years movie, but if I get a chance.
Is our boy in it?
A boy in,
Or the guy that played Oppenheimer?
oh,
He's
I don't
Irish.
know. Cillian Murphy, that's a good
Yeah.
question. I don't know because I don't think he was in 28 Weeks Later. I'm pretty certain he wasn't, but I can't
Oh,
remember.
is this the third?
This is the third, but the second one wasn't great, as I recall, but it's been a long time since I've seen it.
I did not know this. I've only ever watched 28 Days.
I feel like, as far from my understanding is that the third one largely ignores 28
Okay,
Weeks Later, so
gotcha.
it's not that big
Okay.
a deal.
I
Um,
think it's Danny Boyle that's
it is,
directing
it
it.
is, it
Okay.
is. I saw like and there's a meme that's happened. It's basically Danny Boyle directed it, Alex Garland wrote it, and they've been doing a press tour. And there's this whole thing of them like being interviewed by a YouTube creator, and the YouTube creator is basically it's a an avatar, and the avatar is of an anime girl who's also half dog, and it's just them like Danny Boyle being like in wonder, kind of going, "What is happening here?" And Alex Garland just being like, "Oh, what the fuck." It's a very entertaining pairing, you know. So yeah.
It's kind of like, well, they're just stealing from Space Ghost Coast to Coast,
Yeah.
which
Yes,
is, yeah.
that's true. Like, but yeah, I was gonna say I don't. You know what? I was gonna say it, but in a bad way. But I don't know. Like, I haven't seen this stuff. I might enjoy it, you know. But like,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
it's true. That's true. Actually, this sort of thing has been going on for years. It's so true. But yeah. So, um, do you have any what's occurring for us this week?
I do.
Uh-huh.
One of our frequent commenters was talking about your asteroid field fact when we did cool space facts.
Uh-oh.
So for those who haven't heard that episode, get on it right away because it's actually it's one of our best, I think. But Andy explained that like the asteroid field, like the asteroids are actually it's so big and the asteroids are so far apart
Yeah.
that like the odds of like, hitting something or like having to navigate like
Yeah.
really, really hard um is not an actual like possibility.
Mm-hmm.
So this person said heartbreaking with like a little broken heart
Oh, okay.
emoji,
Mm-hmm.
meaning even if you were a proper platinum balled space adventurer, you'd never be able to perform deep space parkour and leap from one asteroid to another, Mario Galaxy style.
That is a very, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
Mario can leap from planet to planet, so let's not rule things out. You know what I
Well, then
mean?
I started thinking about like asteroid movies and asteroids in general. And then I was like thinking about Armageddon and
Mm-hmm.
like, and then I went, because I was, it's just like one of those movies where the plot is so stupid
Yeah, it is.
that I like can't take the movie seriously, right?
Yeah, it's true.
It's just like they got asteroids coming, so but they're like, oh, let's get the deep core miners to
But like,
come and blow up the asteroid the size of Texas. And then I'm thinking about like the pitching of it and like you when you pitch something, it's like two sentences, right? And that's what people look at and read and then like decide if they want to read your script or not. And I'm just like, I can't even.
yeah.
So if you want to laugh, read the Wikipedia page.
Like, I mean, it is a Michael Bay movie, so it being dumb as fuck
Yes, totally.
is part of the, you know.
And I had to Google what parkour meant.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I
You,
learned
you
something.
that's interesting because like yeah, there was parkour was like such a fad. I mean, a long time ago now, there was like a whole thing where there was like movies and the kind of structure was around parkour, and there was like a one of the kind of Bond movies opens with Bond chasing after a guy who's doing parkour, and like Bond's just like smashing through walls and stuff like that, and Hulk smashing versus this other guy who's being nimble and kind of hopping about the
Right,
place.
right.
um I think it was like Block 13 or I can't remember. There was a very famous sort of parkour movie that happened in the kind of 2 or 3 year like fizzle of parkour,
Well, no, I learned something
right? And it
important.
was fascinating and everybody loved it.
It was. And then it's like it's always interesting like the wormholes that I go down
Yeah.
with this person and that are like things that yeah, anyways. So thank you for writing it. That was great.
Yes, not
And it is
always
heartbreaking.
appreciated. It is
Yes.
heartbreaking, truly. Yeah.
So that's what I
So
got there.
shall we move on to today's topic? I talked about doing a summer episode and we pivoted. Because we want to talk about other things.
Not summer.
We are we are nothing if not, you know, people who change their mind quickly. Wow, my brain's really fizzled. I had a word for that. It's gone. Anyway,
It's fine. I couldn't remember Killian Murphy or like how to tell
sorry.
you that there are like two different age groups of a crowd of a concert.
And
It's
it's like
fine.
whatever. Mercurial.
There
Mercurial
you
was the word I was
go.
looking for. It came to me
There you go.
eventually. As you've probably seen, this is called Mental Health Quarterly Review Part something. Because
Yeah.
whatever. It's what maybe part
Yeah.
four, part five. We
I don't
haven't
know.
had one in a
Whenever it's
while.
like whenever we feel like it.
Whatever we feel like, okay, because we're the captains now.
We
So we
are the
get
captains now.
so we get to decide what we're gonna do and when we're gonna do it, all right?
That's right.
And if you don't like it, you can make your own damn podcast. Um so yeah, because like I think, and before we started, Beth and I were chatting and I think we're both kind of feeling yeah, a bit of a crunch, emotionally, mentally, all the sorts of things. So we thought it would be a good time to just, have our wee therapy time on pod.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I need it. And I have therapy tomorrow, thank goodness.
Hell yeah. I
Yeah.
it
Oh,
so
go.
I, just because that is something actually that's a great place to start because I have been debating therapy again recently and are you still getting value out of it? Do you think yeah, I just want to get your thoughts on how you're feeling about it these days.
Yeah. So I was doing like in the height of COVID sickness, I was in therapy once a week.
Yeah.
Then I went to two every other week. I think I'm at every other week right now.
Okay.
I think I could probably do once a month. So I would
Okay.
say, but like I think part of my problem is I have a friend who's going through some rough stuff that's also seeing my same therapist.
Ooh, interesting.
And her shit is like real and mine is so I'm
Mm,
like I'm feeling like I don't deserve it, right? Like my problems are so
no,
minuscule.
please don't do that. Don't
I
diminish your
know, right?
problems.
Isn't
Yeah.
that silly?
Yes.
So I'm like these are the things I don't know if I have too much time on my hands right
Hmm.
now or too little time. I can't tell
Yeah.
because like I'm parenting, I'm also trying to like keep the house going and figure out, when am I getting stem cells next?
Yeah.
Aha. Um, I can't see myself clearly right now.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's tough.
So to answer your question, yeah, I think it's very valuable.
Yes.
And I don't think it needs to be like, once you're in forever. I think, like dabbling
Yes,
and
as and when
seeing
you
it if
need
it
it.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, that's fine. And I have a really, really good therapist that I wish you could see.
Hmm.
Uh and she's very understanding and I just like I would hang out with her, which is I know
Yes.
totally
You
against the rules.
you've talked to me a little bit about her before, I think, and she does sound great.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
I
think if you're even thinking about trying it out, just go.
Like,
would be
yeah,
my
it's like literally the friggin' it's how expensive it is, is the big kind of barrier for me right now. And it's also kind of like, and I don't know whether this is just the negative mental thoughts talking or not, but like I'm also kind of I think about my last couple of uh, um not sessions, but I guess periods of time where I was seeing different therapists, and I feel like it always got to the point where I was like, after about 6 months to a year or so, where I was like, I think I've done all the work I can do with this particular therapist,
yep.
and I'm kind of ready to move on.
I think I've had Andy, like I'm like thinking back, I don't know, I've probably had maybe 12
Okay.
to 14 different therapists throughout my life.
Do have they? And I'm sure they have varied qualities, maybe not a fair word, but like in terms of how you have appreciated them, have there been like, has
Yeah.
there been a big difference in terms of like the value you've got out of
I've done a lot of different types. So I've seen a hypnotherapist and I've
mhm.
seen someone that specializes in the rapid eye movement.
Yeah,
I've seen, so it's like I've gone and seeked out specific types of therapy. Can you hear the bird?
can't
I have the
know.
door open. Okay, good. Um, she gets screamy around this time of day. Uh, so I think that's part of it is it's like, okay, I need like traditional talk therapy isn't working, maybe hypnotherapy will
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
Which for me it wasn't. I'm too I don't know, stubborn.
To be
I'm
hypnotized.
not a believer. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I was like, okay, I'm laying on the couch and I feel relaxed, but like, did it help my sleep? No, right?
yeah,
Did it help my stress level? No. But like, did I also like come to some realizations? Like, absolutely. Mostly around like working too hard and not wanting to work that hard.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I,
But
I,
all to say, like hopping around is totally like you don't feel a need to stick with somebody that isn't a good fit.
yeah, I think that's true. I mean, like, I think that when I think about how I like to communicate with people, and like, my absolute preferred way is seeing people in person. Like, I'm not even that crazy with that, but if I had to pick one, that would be the one.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
my last, you know, therapist was via one of the like online or one of the app-based ones. I can't think of the name of it now. BetterHelp, I think it was.
Hmm.
And kind of got like tried a few different people, and then I had one and it was grand, but like, I kind of have an issue with like the commodification of all that sort of stuff, and I
It's
understand the need for it
nuts. Yeah.
because like there's so many people crying out for like therapists, but I feel like my preference would be if I was to engage with another one, it would be in person if possible. Um, but yeah, I like my mindset currently is that I don't I think I'm frustrated with the thought that there's no cure for this. I'm frustrated with the fact that I will always have to live with this a lot right now. And and I think that talk therapy has helped, but like I feel like it doesn't. It's maybe a question of acceptance currently that I'm really kind of struggling with, and I don't
Hmm.
know whether talk therapy. I think about the outlay in terms of cash that I would have to spend to do this, and also the time that I would have to invest in doing this, and I think about how my life is currently, and I'm really kind of struggling to kind of make sense of all that right now.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I just feel like a bit conflicted about it all. Yeah, and I suppose this also, inevitably ties into the things that are maybe impacting my mental health. The constant need to like have money to live and all this sort of stuff, and and especially me being self-employed and thinking about even when I was on holiday, getting messages from people, emails from people about jobs and gigs and things like that, and I'm just like, it feels like there's no fucking escape from that, and that is, I find, really quite mentally taxing. Honestly, I feel like, it's one of the reasons why, and I've probably talked about this before. If my phone is on do not disturb and silent mode, basically
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
and I think it's different for you. Obviously, you got kids, so you kind of need to have it on,
Oh
but
no,
like,
I no no. I like I have it I have it on do not disturb, silent, don't vibrate, and I
love it.
check it once an
Yeah,
hour
that's good.
just to make sure that, and but they've always I'm lucky they've got Mike as a backup number, so if they
Yes.
can't reach me, then they call him. Um, and
Yeah.
sometimes they just call him anyway. So
Yeah.
I that said, like I'm up at 4 a.m. I get my phone out and I,
Doom scroll.
doom scroll,
I, yeah, I didn't.
which
I
is
am.
really good for my mental
Yeah,
health and my sleep.
I am absolutely getting messages from you at hours the day where I'm like, Beth, you should be
I
in bed.
know. I know. I'm like,
Beth,
shut
go to
it.
bed. Yeah, shut your hole, Andy. Shut your mouth. Um.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like. Have you out of curiosity, have you? I know I've talked about this before as well. Like, I refuse to sleep with my phone anymore. Like, as in, like sleep in the room that it's charging. So like
Mhm.
it goes in another room because so that way that like basically once I close the door of my bedroom, it's a you know protected zone. No outside world shit
I
is getting in there unless
yeah.
it's an absolute emergency and somebody's like hammering my door.
I think I could do that. I used to like have I should get another headset. I used to have these like headphones. They fell
Hmm.
apart because they were cheap, and I would listen to these meditations, and that was like my reason for having my phone in the room was because I needed to be able to
Yep,
like
yep, yep.
listen. And then I did a lot of that when I was laying in bed all the time. Um, but I haven't since these like stupid headphones just literally like disintegrated. I was like, what
Hmm.
is all this black shit everywhere? Um, but yeah, I could and like
I
I don't
hey,
know.
I
It's
understand.
hard.
It is
It's
hard, and
hard.
it took me a long time to actually make it a reality. And like, and it was also, one of the ways I kind of like really
Do you read
what.
books? Like, do you read the
Yes,
book books or do you read your Kindle or like,
that's what I do instead. So I'm like, if I feel like I reach for my phone, instead I reach for my book and I read my book and I feel like I have done something that I enjoy more, that is not going to like plunge me into the fucking more of a depression. And
hmm
because like that is what I fucking hate most about phones in particular is that they will just bring you miserable news constantly.
it's like, and it's exceptionally horrible for right now, And that's, that's the model, right? We've talked about that,
Yeah,
that the model is, to keep you terrified and,
I'm not happy.
and
And
not happy and reading and reading and reading and um mm, they're I don't want to get too far into the debate of all of like being aware of what's happening in the world, like absolutely necessary,
yes,
but at the same time it's like you know therapy isn't free
it's
and
so
we all
true.
need it.
Yeah. Um, no, it is kind of like. No, I see the utility of some of the things and some of like, I mean, I today put up pictures on Instagram for my trip, my first set, just because, and like I'd say 99% of me doing that is so I don't have to go around to individual people and go, here, look at my photos, because I fucking
Yeah,
hate that process anyway. And also,
yeah,
like, people have asked me, and I'm like, here you go,
yeah,
enjoy at your own, and I will never look at the comments. Thank you, goodbye. So like I see the utility of that, but like if I find myself on Instagram and like looking through it, and there is part of my brain is like, what are you doing? fucking switch this off now. You know what I mean? Like I instead end up going on Reddit or whatever, which is like
I do that too.
I think like I mean like and I'm not gonna defend my Reddit addiction, but like I think it's a hell of a lot better than because like there are tendrils into your personal life with Instagram, with Facebook that there just does not exist with Reddit. Well, certainly my experience with Reddit, and I find that to be a healthier experience. It's like why I fucking love podcasts so much because I get to like I have a window into this world that I do not have to interact with at all, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. I also noticed I was on Reddit uh last night and I noticed a difference in the comments. Like people are, and maybe it's just the groups that I'm in, but like people
Uh-huh.
are more respectful and thoughtful about the words that they're writing,
Interesting.
than they are on like, page six or, you know, all these other places where people comment on things or
Yeah.
even Facebook, right? Like the neighborhood group that I'm in for my neighborhood, people are just like ripping each other apart. And I'm like, this doesn't happen on Reddit. This happens in the neighborhood forum on
That's some
Facebook.
wild shit considering they have
Yeah.
to see each other.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like fighting over lighting. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, you guys.
But it's like, yeah, I, and I have sympathy for that. Like, but I think some people just have incredibly unrealistic expectations. I mean, like, there is certain things I think people have to like just swallow about living in
Yeah.
a group of people close to you, unfortunately. And I think
Yes.
some people are always going to struggle with that, sadly.
Yeah.
Um, I
I think
think,
I've told you this like 400 times. My mom lives on a road with like six or seven other houses,
uh-huh.
and like none of them get along.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And I'm like, there can never be world peace if these like people who all have acreages, right? There's a lot of land between the houses, and they're still like driving each other crazy and stealing each other's mail and
Like,
getting in screaming fights. It's like over gravel. I can't.
life's too short. Like,
I
fuck.
know. I know, man.
Like, and I love, having multi-week depressive stints, but like, Jesus Christ, even to me who does that, that feels like a colossal waste of time.
I know. I don't have the energy for that
No.
to be mad. I'm more mad. I just turned it all internal.
No,
That anger,
absolutely. Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
flipped that
Uh-huh.
around and
The,
put that all
the
here.
the healthy way.
Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, like
Actually, I
mhm.
actually see two therapists right now.
Okay,
So
nice.
because certain therapists in the States, like they can be traditional therapists, or you have like a nurse
Hmm.
who can prescribe. So I have my talk therapist, and then I have like the therapist that it's weird here, dude. It's like they talk to you for 15 minutes and then they're like, well, I don't know, let's try this drug. And you're like, okay,
Oh
I'll
yeah,
like
okay.
talk to you in a month. So not, it's not, that system is fucked up,
Yes.
I will
I
say.
because like it's probably the same for you guys then where it's like one therapist for if to give you drugs and another therapist to kind of do the talk therapy side of things. I
Yep,
think it's similar here.
basically. Yep, yep.
But like like honestly at the minute I have no like my engagement with because I think I mentioned you before, perhaps on the pod, I'm trying to get off my antidepressants. Not that I'm like, oh, aren't I doing great? It's more like they have never done anything of real value to me. They have helped me
Hmm.
sleep in the past. I've talked about this before. But like honestly, I don't really think it makes that much of a difference, and not certainly anymore. I think any sort of impact on my sleep is probably long in the rear view. So I'm like trying to get off them. But like
Hmm.
currently how our system works in the UK, so this is a hangover from COVID, is that if you want to speak to a GP, you must call them at 8:30 in the morning.
You
You
did tell me this.
you have to
Yeah.
like wait, you have to call many times. So I'm gonna see if I can find the number exactly. Anyway, I um you have to get through to them. Um they'll be like, okay, we'll get a doctor to call you back, and you just have to be at your phone the rest of the day. And I just
Which you don't do.
I like I can turn my phone on, but like it's like I even like but like there's the amount of times where I'm like doing something where my phone has to be off, like teaching, or going to a place where I've got no reception, like pet therapy. There's loads of my mornings that are like that, you know?
Hmm.
So it's so frustrating because so then finding a morning where let me see how many. Okay. Oh wow, it's way worse than I thought. So one morning I rang them. Basically you have to ring and people are like, well, do they not have like one of those
Like a
systems?
hold
There's a whole
system?
system. They do.
Yeah.
But this is on
Okay.
top of this, right? I called 174 times. I capped I capped 200 before I got through,
I'm gonna fucking cry.
right? And like that's devastating to your mental health having to do that process every time. So like I'm trying to reduce down. I need to speak to my doctor every time I do this. And like that's such a fucking miserable experience, you know? So like, oh, that was very frustrating. So yeah, over
Oh
to
my fucking God.
isn't that the same? So
Like if
yeah.
you were like, guess how many times, I would never have guessed a number that high.
Right?
Ever.
No.
Ever.
And so, and so
I see.
so it's very frustrating. So like, and again, like, and I think I have just reduced the last reduction I did. I just reduced it myself because I knew what the last he did try to call me, and I knew what it was going to be about. So I just did the reduction myself, and I'm just going to like, it's like whatever,
Titrate it off.
Yeah, and then I'll
I
just
I
speak to him.
I did. I got off mine.
Hmm.
Did I tell you this?
You said you were coming off it, yeah.
So I got completely off of them. There are other medications that I am still taking. Um, but they're mostly around like anxiety and sleep, which
Hmm.
is always, but like I just didn't. And it's like part of it, it sounds stupid, but like it made me gain weight. And that wasn't
Yep,
that doesn't feel good for my mental health because I can't get a lot of
absolutely.
exercise right now. And so I'm just eating and getting fatter and like feeling bad about myself. And so
Hmm.
like that's part of it was like the weight gain wasn't it does help me sleep. Um, but not enough to like I don't know, have all these other like weird side effects. Like I think I had to get glasses because of this
No
drug.
shit, really?
Yeah. Yeah. So it like messed with my vision. Um, so I don't know. And like because I've started, integrating stem cells back in, I don't know
Hmm.
what is working and what is not working anymore.
Yeah, because there's like a
So
cocktail of stuff
because
in
yeah, it
there
is.
currently.
It's
Yeah,
like this, and this. And so I'm trying to like reduce the cocktail. So I did titrate off. I was very proud of myself because I was like, this is probably something I'm gonna have to be on for the rest of my life.
yeah.
And I ended up being able to get off of it. And it
Nice.
took, 2 weeks for me to do it the right way.
And like being off it, have you noticed any significant difference?
Um, I, you know, that's a good question. I think it not really, other than like it would help me fall asleep faster, but I've supplemented that. Now I'm like I'm trying to go more natural. So I'm like supplementing it with like 20 milligrams or 30 milligrams of melatonin, right?
Hell
Like, which is
yeah.
a lot. But that'll do something.
Yep.
I started eating weed again
Hmm.
instead. So
Hmm.
I don't, and frankly, I can buy certain things to help me. Like I had I'm complaining now. And I don't advocate for anybody else to do this. This is just what I have figured out to do in my own life. But
Hmm.
like I can go down to Mexico and buy drugs if I need to.
Yeah.
And at this point, like just trying to get I was supposed to have an appointment with my with the therapist that could prescribe the drugs.
Hmm.
And like I'm like, what do I need? Michael's like, what do you even need them for? What do
Yeah.
you even need them for?
Yeah. Yeah.
You have a doctor in Mexico. Just go down there.
It's that's so true. And it's shit whenever like working with the system makes you feel like that.
Yeah. So that's kind of it's like I guess it's just I I feel demoralized, but
Hmm.
I can't imagine trying to call someone 100 or 200 times,
Yeah.
right? That would like literally like I'm like glad that I had Xanax before I got hopped on with you because I would be freaking out. That would like make me sweat.
So right, and here's the worst thing about that, right? So I left my phone on Do Not Disturb. I took it off. Very rare. I do this. I take it off Do Not Disturb. I took it off silent mode, right? He called me. He called me when I was driving, and I guess because I was driving, it went in drive mode, so it went through the answer machine. So I fucking missed him. So that was just 45 minutes in the morning trying to get through, and then I missed a call because it's like at a minimum, maybe give me a window. He'll call you back roughly then, and I would do my best to like be free in that window and not do anything. Like I
Mhm.
wasn't working at the time, you know. So it was just very frustrating.
I
Excuse
can't
me.
even.
And like I mean. And not to undermine this, but like it's because it is important. Mental health is important, but like, what if you're somebody who's like a more serious ailment that you need to speak to a doctor about? Yeah, and yes, there are other ways and means to go about that, but still, it just feels, I don't know, it feels deeply broken, but it is absolutely the way it has been for a long, long time now and seems unlikely to change.
I don't understand like what happens because I took Charlie to the doctor because he was having back pain. Did I tell you
Hmm.
this? For
No.
like 2 weeks. Yeah, he's like, my back hurts. Don't do that. Ow, my back, my back. And I was like, you sound like a 40-year-old man. Okay, this has gone on long enough. So they like, so they got him in the next day. They were like, do you want to bring him in today? And I was like, no, tomorrow's fine. Like he's, just give him some Tylenol. It could be growing pains. Who knows? Get him in there. They weigh him. They did a urinalysis to check for
Okay.
like a kidney infection because they
Yeah.
were like, your kidneys are big. Then they were like, go downstairs, get an x-ray. All this happened within like 45 minutes. And they got it right. And I'm like, what the why is this all happening so fast? Like
Yeah.
you'd have to have 4 or 5 appointments in order to like
Yeah.
get any of that done. So like children's healthcare here is, or at least the healthcare we have with kids
Hmm.
based on
Hmm.
our insurance is so good and so fast. I'm
That's
like, why
good.
can't we do that with adults?
Well, this is true.
Do we just have more
So true.
ailments? I don't know.
Ah,
So I
yeah.
dream of that day with an integrative clinic.
Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be
Yeah.
nice?
Where you're like, I'm feeling sad. And they're like, oh, okay, let's bring this other
All
doctor
right,
and
come on in, bro. Talk to somebody.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And like this person can help you. They're here too. They'll walk in and we'll all sit together and try and work out this problem as a group, right?
Yeah, no, this is true. Unfortunately,
I
the questions behind things like that would always be like, well, where's the money? Where's the profit? Where's the profit to be made
know.
from that?
I know.
Um, yeah, it's just anti-capitalist Andy once again, fucking bloody communist.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, so one of the things I want to talk about, one of the reasons why we decided that we wanted to talk about this was, and I was feeling the crush of time and finding
Yes.
time to
Yes.
do things, finding
Yes.
time both for yourself and for other people. It's something that we both are experiencing at the minute. I'm actually really keen as well to hear from people who have maybe like, our listeners who are like maybe also notice this. I wonder, is it like, I feel like everybody it feels time pressured. I don't know whether I'm noticing it more now in other people, maybe because I'm feeling it so much these days. I think I don't know how honest an appraisal it is, but when thinking about it recently, I'm like, I feel like I've been like this certainly for a long, long, long time, you know? Um, but I just feel certainly since coming back from my holiday, like more broken by it than I have in a
Can I
long
give you my
time.
assessment?
Yeah.
I think you're happier
Mm.
than you've
Yeah.
been in a long time. And I think um you probably use being busy as a distraction.
Yeah.
And I think you're wanting more time to just like be in your happy place.
Yes.
And you don't need all that distraction as much. And now that distraction is noise and time and effort and energy.
Yeah.
And you don't want to deal with it as much because you're focusing on living your life in a different way.
That's fair. Yeah. It's maybe just like growing pains from one sort of like phase of life to another. Yeah, that's a fair assessment, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
So it's good news,
it
Andy.
is
It's good
good.
news.
Well, yeah, that's that's a really I I'm definitely struggling to navigate it, and I think that is something that like yeah, a common theme certainly in my life, probably in a lot of people's lives, navigating between those changes, so like I don't know. Currently in a position where I do want to ease off on things, but I also don't know.
Where,
No, it's like anywhere I look to make cuts is things that I really either I can't or I really don't want to,
mhm.
So it's like I don't know. It's just like something's got to give, and I don't know what it is, and it's really caused me a lot of like mental anguish, I think, at the minute.
Yeah, I I wish I had a magic
Oh
answer for
yeah,
that because
me
I
too.
feel like you have, I know, right? You have been cutting things
Yes, I
out,
have.
and also I think, that feeling is probably compounded by the fact that you got a break from everything for a couple weeks and you didn't have to do all the things and, you were on a trip being busy, but like it's
Just
being outside and hiking is a different busy than like rushing to pet therapy and then rushing to teach yoga and then rushing to walk, you know, the
uh,
dogs.
and even
It's
like just
like,
having nebulous time, like there was a couple of evenings where we were just like, oh, we'll just sit, we'll pop a gummy, when we play some games on the iPad, we'll just have a chat,
yeah,
where it's just like those things are extremely rare in my life. It's always like task focused or something. Even with like I'm getting to see some friends this weekend. I'm very much looking forward to it, and we're getting a weekend away. But I'm like, I'm stressing about like this, how this is going to set me back,
yeah,
further in terms of like the things I need to stay on top of. It's
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I've got like my stuff, the kids, have both had weird stuff going on with their bodies. So they're at the
yep,
doctor. Charlie's, um, I've had him in therapy. He's getting a tutor. So it's just like managing schedules of children is like it's, if if you let them have activities or you care about, their bodies, like it's a full-time job. It's a
yeah,
full-time job.
yeah,
And then my stuff on top of that, it's just like I'm
yeah.
so tired. And I'm like I'm resting and I don't know if now I'm just complaining, but like I'm
No,
sleeping a lot during the day. Like I don't want
yeah,
to deal. I don't want to
no,
deal. And so I'm just like, go crawl in bed and like
yeah.
shut it all off and don't think and just like be in
It's
your comfy cloud.
yeah, your
Close
little
those curtains.
yeah, let's see if sounds just your protective bubble against the world. Yeah, yeah, it sounds appealing,
Uh,
but I also kind of know I have definitely been in those places in the past, and I also know that as appealing as it sounds, it's kind of a mixed bag in reality.
it is. It is. It is. And I don't know what's depression and what's
Yeah,
fatigue right now.
yeah,
Which is, so that's kind of the dance that I'm in right
and
now, I think is like, am I depressed or am I feeling fatigued?
and
Am I lonely
yeah,
or do I need time alone? Like I don't know.
yeah, it's so true, and it's so that is such a good point because it is really difficult to really analyze where this is coming from, what it is, and like
Mhm.
the things that you're talking about there sound like complete polar opposites. And I feel like for some people, they would hear that and they would go, "Well, how do you not know?" But it's very simply, it's unfortunately very easy to just have no idea where this is coming from and what is, and I think that like tell me if you agree with this, but like I feel like your brain will give you the reason, give you the answer that makes you feel most guilty about it,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
So it is,
totally.
yeah, it's just you're being lazy. It's like, oh, or like whatever, and like
Yeah.
I get very similar things, and it's so frustrating to have any sort of anything even close to an objective analysis of what's going on with it. Yeah, it's yeah, maddening, constantly maddening.
And I will say, like, sometimes I'm not trying to bag on therapy, but like
No,
sometimes I just wish they would be like, here's what you need to do.
yes,
And not like, oh, how does that make you feel? Right. And
yeah,
like lead, like, that it's like uh, this new term breadcrumbing, right?
yeah,
It's like that's essentially what therapy is. It's like they're just like breadcrumbing you along to figure your shit out. But I just I know that's not the financial model that works. But sometimes like
I
I just
know.
need someone to be like, stop it.
Maybe we don't need therapists. We need like dominatrixes or something like that.
Maybe like those outdoor programs where you like it's like outdoor boot camp,
Yeah,
break our spirits.
yeah. Keep running, maggot, and et
I
cetera, et
know.
cetera.
Yay.
Actually, let's not do that. That
So,
sounds
I
awful.
know it does.
Um, but yeah,
But like
mhm,
that I will say I guess for both of us, I think yeah, that inner like the inner dialogue is confused right now.
very much so.
And it's like not nice either.
It's true. Is this heat? Woo, it's this heat.
I know.
I'm only joking. Well, I mean, it's certainly connected, but yeah,
It's the humidity.
it's the humidity. Yeah, this crazy humidity. And see, we tied it right back to the start of the episode,
Right. Look at
everybody, right?
that. Look
That's
at
that's what's called the prestige.
that.
It's like we planned this all from the start. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, any other thoughts, Beth? You want to like talk about
Are
anything
you
else?
gonna like still try and like get a therapist with that amount of calling?
Like, but like that is for
Like
my
what is what
GP.
is the okay, so but like you would pay out of pocket is what you're saying
I
to
would
get
have
like an actual
there is zero fucking chance of me getting free therapy. There's just no chance. I mean, like I have
okay.
done. We've talked a little bit before in recent episodes. Like I've talked to you is that like I have done mental health reviews. I've done a couple, I think, over the past 4 or 5 years. I know I've definitely done at least one, and I think one of them didn't get very far. The second one, I went and I spoke to a nurse, and I remember speaking to her and like me saying stuff to her or me describing things in certain ways, and she goes, "Huh." That's interesting. Okay. And I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Okay, good. I'm glad that you're listening to this and you're going, okay, that's a bit funky.
This is an
And
anomaly.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is an anomaly. Like I'm thinking, okay, fuck, good. She's saying something's just going on here. Maybe I'm gonna get some traction. And within this so I mean mental health review saying, I think that CBT isn't for me. I've got a little bit out of it, but it's just not for me.
Yeah.
And I've tried it with like 3 or 4 different practitioners. And and she went, she was, and as difficult as I found that process, she was very good, and she listened. And then get a letter 2 weeks later going, ah, we can't help you at this stage. Have you considered CBT? And I'm like, motherfuckers.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
So there is, private is the only option for me, and it's a lot of money. So
Mhm.
and I'm also like, as much as I'd like to do it. I think about the money and I think about what else could be done with the money, and I just don't know. I just don't know right now. I just don't know whether it's a valuable place to put money.
Mhm. There's also I'll have to look. My therapist is talking about TMS. Have you heard of that?
Sounds familiar?
TMS, I
Like
think.
as a type of therapy?
Yeah, transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Okay.
And like so but this would be I looked into it because it's not in it's like you're putting magnets on your head basically,
Okay.
but you have to do it like every day for like a month or something
Okay.
or 3 months. And I was like, I just can't commit to that because like the
No.
drive would kill me. It would be like a two and a
Yeah.
half hour round trip every day. But I know it's worldwide. If you're paying out of pocket, that might be something to look into.
Yeah.
And the other one that she talked about was neurofeedback,
Okay.
which I've also looked into. But again,
Uh,
that practitioner is kind of far away. So,
I think I want, do you remember the Incredible Hulk TV show?
yes, I do.
So, the therapy that David Banner had that turned him into the Hulk? That's
Yes,
kind of the one
that's what
that
you want.
that's the one that I want. So I'll have to find out what that one is.
Okay.
So, folks at home, if you've got any any leads on that therapy for me, that
But
would be
seriously, if
ideal.
anybody has like any type of therapy that has worked for you that isn't CBT
Or Hulk therapy.
or Hulk therapy, like I'm curious. I'm curious.
Yeah.
And like
I
stop reading the news.
I have had friends who've done red light therapy, or not just red light therapy, like the light therapy and things like that. And
Hmm.
I've only known one person for sure who's done it, and I think he felt mixed about it. He didn't feel it was wonderful. Also, like he has done, and like apparently it is not. When I think of this, I think of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, but he has done electroshock therapy, and it's a lot more targeted these days, and it's
Yep.
apparently there's value there for some
Yep.
people.
Yep.
But like it's just, it's such a roll of the dice, and it's kind of like, you know, it's like everything with, mental health stuff it just all feels so the whole field just seems in its infancy. They're still figuring stuff out, so it is
That's a
all,
really good way to describe it.
it's
They're
it's
babies.
they are babies, they are. So yeah.
Uh,
But yes, any thoughts, folks, on today's topic? We would love to hear it. And if you've got any like miracle cures, any snake oil that'll solve
hmm.
our problems, please let us know.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
You want to talk
Um,
about, talk about joy?
Joy. God, that damn joy.
Damn
What's been
joy.
bringing you joy this week, Beth?
Hmm.
Hmm.
This is
Do you want me to go? Do
hard.
you want me to go?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so I think I've been talking about anime recently. I've been really enjoying anime because like there's something absurdist about anime, like, certainly to somebody who is, from like a Western audience. I just kind of love the turns. It always feels so unpredictable to me, and it's really exciting. Um, so like I've been enjoying a Korean anime called Solo Leveling recently, and like I really like the kind of really earnest uh, positions in these shows, and then like the real kind of absurd humor and stuff as well. And like they don't feel in conflict with each other, and they whenever it feels like such a magic trick to me, but it seems so intrinsic to that genre. It just keeps pulling me back, and yeah, it's a lot. I find them to be lovely wee escapes, and because they tend to be relatively short, it's something that I can kind of digest at home.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's getting into anime.
Oh, what you
Like,
watching?
it's more books.
Hell yeah.
Like she's like drawing stuff
Okay, cool.
too. So, and like she and my son are working on a comic book together.
I love it.
I know, me too. I can't remember what it's called, but I'll
Okay.
see if they can find it.
Oh, please.
I know. It's like adorable. I was like, you guys could write these like
Yeah.
Dave Dave Pilkey,
He
Dog
was
Man,
I was
like
gonna say Dogman. Yeah,
yeah,
Dogman
yeah.
movie came out
Yes.
this year. Yeah,
Yes. So I was like, if he can do it, anybody can do it.
exactly.
Um, so I guess joy.
Joy.
I think I haven't been feeling a lot recently.
Hmm.
But I will say, like, I keep saying like that my mantra right now is you can do hard things.
Hmm. Hmm.
And like for me right now, like it's it feels Herculean to like take the kids to a movie by myself and like get their needs met. And like I
Yeah,
did it. And like that felt really good. And I taught her how to make pancakes the other day all by herself, right? And
love
like
it.
she was so excited and like so she made pancakes for dinner last night. And like I guess just like I'm finding joy in the little moments with them.
Yeah,
And I'm grateful that I'm able to do these things with them, even though sometimes it's, stressful or exhausting. It wouldn't be for a normal person, but it is for me in my body in this life. And I guess like that's hard
Yeah,
to come to terms with all the time, but there's still joy there.
I love it.
Okay. That was
That's
hard.
good. Yeah, it was. Hey, you got it, and it was a good one. It
Thank
was a
you.
good one. It was a good one. I loved it. Okay. Great. Okay. Beth, can you tell everyone where they can find us?
Find us at bendypodcast.com.
Monsters do good.
Feel free to leave us a Google review,
Please. 5 stars
please. Yeah,
only,
only.
or else you'll have to speak to me, and it'll be me just going, "Excuse me, could you please give us 5 stars instead of 3 stars, please?" Please.
And he'll call you
Oh
200
well, I'll
times
call
to
you. And you'll hear all about it. Hey, how are you? Are you well? Look, I noticed you wrote something. Anyway, right. Okay. Enough. Enough out of us. All right, folks.
That's all right.
In that case, as always, we like to remind you to stay
Stay bendy.
nice. A fitting mental
Excellent.
health. Bendy.
Ooh,
All right.
uh,
We love you,
sorry,
folks.
everyone. Love you.
No, no
Bye.
sorry. Bye. We love you.